This is Alex House, Fourth Box, proudly sponsored by Excelsior Sporting Club. Today I'm here with Spencer Oliver. Spencer, how are we doing, mate?
Yeah, brilliant, thanks. I'm looking forward to Saturday night. Thankfully, the show still goes on, you know, with the adverse findings with Dillian Whyte and the disappointment surrounding that. You know, Anthony Joshua still gets the fight that he needs this time against Robert Helenius. Listen, it's a good last-minute replacement, if I'm totally honest. Respect and props to Matchroom and Eddie Hearn for getting this fight over the line, because there was a time there at the weekend we thought it was going to fall flat on his face. So thankfully, the show still goes on.
And like you said, do you think this is a necessary fight for Anthony Joshua?
Absolutely, this is all about the rebuilding process, and I think what we found out last time against Jermaine Franklin was that Joshua has taken himself off over to Dallas. He's training with Derek James, but there's things that they're working on and still need improving on. And I think now you can't judge a guy when he's changed trainer and he's in this rebuilding process. He's trying to reinstall that confidence and everything else after the losses to Usyk. You can't judge a guy on one performance. Go, oh, that's it, he's finished, and that's what too many people in the media do. They're quick to shoot Joshua down and judge him, and I think he gets unnecessary criticism. Give the guy time, and I think that we'll see that in this performance against Robert Helenius. I know a lot of people saying, well, yeah, Robert Helenius, you know, not the greatest of opponent, 39 years of age, but look, he boxed last week. He's coming off a victory, and under the circumstances, I think he's a great opponent, and stylistically a great opponent for Joshua to let his hands go, get off of his shots, and, you know, reinstall that confidence, and like I say, set up those big fights. Because this fight, I think what we'll find out is where Joshua's at in his career right now, because the Franklin one, you got to give him that because of the, you know, the transition process with his new trainer. But now I think they've had more time to work together. We'll see some of the stuff that they've implemented in Joshua's style, or Derek's implemented in Joshua's style, and I think we'll see that on Saturday night. Helenius fits the bill. He's right. He's tall. He's rangy, but he comes to fight. And if he comes to fight, Joshua's got, you know, he's going to be able to get off with his hands. So, yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it.
Totally. And so would you kind of say that Joshua has to get a stoppage for this fight, or do you think the rounds could help him?
No, it's not. I don't think it's about the rounds. I think this is all about getting the job done. And like I say, you know, just getting... What I'm looking for Anthony Joshua was last time, you know, we saw phase one and we saw the 1s and 1-2s, but we didn't see him rolling the dice enough. We didn't see him, like, I want to see him letting his hands go more. You know, I want to see the Anthony Joshua of old, the Anthony Joshua that beat actually Dillian Whyte back in 2015, where he sort of like threw his shots and, you know, he fought with his heart on his sleeve a little bit more, went again and threw his shots, and I want to see a little bit more of that. I think that's what's been missing from Joshua in recent fights. And I think now this is the perfect opportunity for him to showcase those skills and show people that, listen, I'm here to stay, mate. I'm here to get back to the top, and hopefully we see that on Saturday night.
And would you say that he needs that kind of destructive aspect of him if he's going to face Wilder, especially against somebody who is as destructive as Wilder?
Absolutely. You know, I think that's what he needs. That's what I say. It's all about the confidence rebuilding, believing in his own ability to get off with the shots again. And I think that's what he needs. And I think that's what we'll get on Saturday night. And then that sets him up for the big fight with Deontay Wilder, possibly January, February time out in Saudi Arabia. But this is the perfect rebuilding process.
And so just to kind of move on to the other big heavyweight fights we've got Dubois versus Usyk coming up soon, and a lot of people are writing off Dubois quite heavily, but do you think it's a good thing to write off Dubois?
Of course not. You know, he's young, and he's young and he's dangerous, and he's got a massive punch. You can't write off Dubois. You know, like, upsets happen in boxing history. You go back to, you know, 1990 when Mike Tyson got knocked out by James Buster Douglas out in Tokyo. Upsets do happen. Do you know what I'm saying? It's the history books have written like that, and this would be a huge upset. But I'm not totally writing Daniel Dubois off, like I say, because, you know, when you're a young fighter, you don't think as much. Do you know what I mean? So you sort of more, you know, you're a little bit more fearless, and that's important going in against someone like Usyk, because you've got to sort of take the fight to him, bully him a little bit. As we saw with Anthony Joshua, what we saw with Anthony Joshua is that he was thinking too much, giving Usyk too much time, and Usyk was moving around, and he was allowed to get into a rhythm. Dubois can't afford to do that. I know he's out in Spain, training out in Spain, high altitude with Don Charles, new trainer. Don Charles has got a lot of experience as well, and I think he'll implement something into his style. And speaking to Don actually last week, I spoke to him on the phone out there, and he said, listen, we know what we got to do. It's got to be educated pressure, but we can't give him any space. We can't allow him to get into any rhythm. And Daniel's got the power, man, to do it. So look, you know, I'm hoping that he can pull it off. It's, you know, we all understand he's a huge underdog, but he's got a shot, definitely.
And if he does end up winning, of course, then he'll be on track to get undisputed if he's going to fight Fury. And do you think the fight between Fury and Dubois would be that much easier to make compared to Fury versus Usyk?
Well, I don't know really. I think that all these guys, you know, with what's going on out in Saudi Arabia at the moment, I don't think the stadium was ready. I don't think the money was in place at that time. So all the heavyweights had to get out, and they've had to, you know, get warm-up fights in before these fights happen, because I do believe that we get Fury Usyk, and I do believe we get AJ Wilder, and I do believe the winner fights a winner. But I think that because of the situation out in Saudi and the funds not being in place at that time, I think that all the guys needed to get out, and that's what they're doing. They're exercising it, but they're all taking huge risks by doing that, because, you know, if they lose, the big fights are gone. So let's see how it goes.
And just for the other big fight, we've got Fury versus Ngannou. Do you think that is a really necessary fight?
Why not? You know, I think that Fury was looking for the opponent. It's a huge crossover fight. It'll get huge numbers, and Fury just wants to, you know, he just wants that exercise of getting out and getting off with a few shots and whatnot. Obviously, he's, you know, Fury beats Ngannou easily. Ngannou's, you know, he's not even had a fight before, but he's dangerous. He's good at what he does, you know, in his field, and entertainment value. It's going to be wicked. You know, I like it. I like the fight, and I understand. You know, Fury needed to, you know, get out there, and he needs to get out there, and Ngannou was the fight that sort of made sense for them. You know, Frank Warren done a great thing by going to a different group of Saudis and getting funding for this fight, so that sort of opened up other avenues out in Saudi Arabia, and he's getting well paid. This is called prize fighting. He's getting huge money, and so who wouldn't do that? Anyone that says that they wouldn't do it because they're talking about legacy fights, etc. Them fights are there anyway. They're going to happen. So I respect what he's doing, and yeah, good luck to him. He's getting well paid for it, and it'll be fun. It'll be great entertainment.
Indeed, and just a couple more from me. Of course, just a few weeks back we had Spence versus Crawford, and that kind of puts the question on everybody's lips: who is pound for pound number one for you? Who is that?
Oh, Terence Crawford, without a doubt. I think that was yeah, that's what we found out there the other night. I think Naoya Inoue was momentarily pound for pound from the Tuesday when he had that good win over Steve Fulton. Then we can see Terence Crawford, Errol Spence. No one knew how that fight was going to go. There was a big divide, 50-50 fight. You know, people thought the size and strength of Spence and the work ethic of Spence would do Crawford, but Crawford done that with ease, man. Like that was sensational. That was one of the best performances I've seen in many years, and I think he'll go down not just as a modern day great, but an all-time great. I think it was that good. It was excellent, man. Everything he done was just 2 moves ahead of everything. You know, the way he was boxing out of the orthodox southpaw stance, and he was like switching the shots up. You know, excellent array of punches, and just that was beautiful to watch. Yeah, that was a first-class performance. Pound for pound number one, without a doubt.
And when people talk about what it makes to be a pound for pound number one, what credentials are there for you?
Well, listen, I think that you've got to look at his resume, because that's what it's all about, who you've boxed, who you've beat. Like, he was like lightweight world champion, super lightweight world champion, welterweight world champion. Do you know what I mean? Undisputed, super welterweight, undisputed. Like, come on, man. You know what I mean? It's like he's created history. He's become the first male to be 2-time undisputed world champion. And could he go up and box Charlo and become a 3-time undisputed champion? That remains to be seen. But that's what creates legacies. He's cemented legacy, and that's what creates greatness. You know, going through the weights the way he has, like organically growing into the weights and delivering and beating the best at all those weights.
And one final question from me. Do you think 2023 has the making and is already on the way to being one of the best boxing years we've ever had?
Yeah, we're getting the fights that we need. Listen, it's all about a lot of it is about the heavyweight division and those big fights being made and not weighed. But what we are seeing is all the heavyweights are getting out, and so they are, you know, we're seeing the fights that we want to see. I mean, looking forward to seeing Joshua back in the ring, all about his development again. Like I say, we're going to see Fury in the ring, seeing Usyk in the ring. Don't know what Wilder's doing right now, but yeah, we're getting those fights off the line, and when you go down to the smaller weights, and like you say, Errol Spence, Terence Crawford, even when you go back to Ryan Garcia, Gervonta Davis, and all those guys, you know, like they're the fights that we need to see, and that's what, you know, that's what creates eras. And yeah, I think that we're getting them. 2023 has been a good year so far, and we've got some great fights to come.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Spencer.